Hey gang, welcome back. It's Deltia from DeltiusGaming.com here to bring you One-Shot-Willy, the Nightblade build that tries to kill enemies in one shot. This build isn't perfect for everyone, but it really helped me get through almost all the leveling content by myself. It has huge burst, high damage, and it's great to play with. Check it out.
One-Shot-Willy is really a great solo or leveling build, focused on quick, high burst damage. The objective is to basically kill one enemy over and over and over. It has great self-sustaining heals with some Nightblade abilities and some passives, so you don't have to rely on a healer throughout the leveling process. The character I'm using is King Foltest, a Khajiit. I call him Black Cat. By default, this build isn't perfect for every situation, but if you throw in a couple of abilities here and there, it really can handle anything. The positives are huge bursts, it's stealthy and fast, self-sustaining heals, and the negatives are limited AoE, no group stun. But really, if you're trying to level and you're having problems going through veteran rate contests, check this out. Alright, we're in the Harborage Aldmeri Dominion side. I want to go over some skills and kind of what I use for One-Shot-Willy. I'm going to go left to right first. So kind of left to right is how I play my characters, and usually the 5 key, the last ability, is one for a finisher. So my first ability is Dark Cloak. I like the invisibility because I almost have 100% critical, so I don't need the other morph. But I really need is a Purge being a vampire, so Dark Cloak really works for me. It gives me invisibility, removes 4 damage over times or dots, especially for flame damage. Super important. Surprise attack. This is the go-to bread and butter along with Dark Cloak. Use them together to nuke targets. The reason I like Surprise Attack is I don't need a little bit more speed when I have tons of set bonus speed. So I like the armor reduction paired with another ability on my bar 2. So Surprise Attack is really powerful and I like this one. My first stamina ability is Steel Tornado. It's basically my bread and butter AoE damage, and damage increases as health becomes lower and lower, so it actually can even be effective on single targets. It also has a huge radius, 12.5 meters, so consider this your stamina dump. It pumps up your ultimate really fast and does a lot of damage even to single targets as they get lower. Flying Blade. I like this because it keeps the time on target up. A lot of times you have to get out of red circles or run away or whatever, and you can turn around and use this at 28 meter range, and it hits really hard. Plus it snares them, so it can't be used as a gap closer, range attack while you're waiting to switch bars or whatever, or just a stamina dump for a single target. So Flying Blade really works for me. Killer's Blade. This might be a little controversial. I like Killer's Blade because most of the time in this build I'm up close. So I like the extra health it gets back to me on a kill. I could see where you'd go for Impale here with the extra range, but really it's just up to you. For me, if I'm soloing or rolling around, I want that extra health upon a kill. Because I don't have a whole lot of dots, so I can almost guarantee I'm going to get the killing blow. Lastly, I have Flawless Dawnbreaker. Now why would I take this? I never use it. It's basically an Undead Daedric type of ultimate, but you see, weapon attack deals 12% additional damage when slotted. That is enormous. And when it gets to be number 4, it'll do 13%. So I don't ever use the ultimate, but I have it there just to do damage. So that's my bar 1. I'm going to show you in the rotation section kind of how I go and attack, but that's really this is set up for my number 1 dual wield bar. Number 2 is my bow. I love the bow for the range, plus it has some good single target burst damage. Funnel Health, this is kind of just for ultimate and a slight self-heal now and then. Also the damage is up front, so you can spam this if you have extra magicka to waste and just burn through a target. But you could really rotate a lot of different abilities in here, just depending on what you want to do in your playstyle. I like Funnel Health, especially if I'm rolling with a group. A little utility, a little ultimate regeneration, works for me. Second, I have Venom Arrow. Venom Arrow puts casters off balance, so even if I'm PvEing or PvPing, I can spam this and almost guarantee someone's not going to get off a cast. I really like this ability. Draining Shot is your knockback. I went with this because I don't like Magnum Shot because it moves me too. I want ultimate control. And for me, if I'm moving, kiting around, I can plunk this on them, knock them back, keep them in distance. You can also plunk them back a couple times and then do your focused aim. Focused aim is your channel huge attack that also increase weapon power for range attacks. So usually when I'm going into combat, I'll peel back and hit them with this first, a poison arrow or two, venom arrow, and they're dead. Reaper's Mark, I really like this. It's kind of weird to use it because it strips their armor and spell resistance, but also strips yours too. So if you're going to kill an enemy right away, or you have a tank basically on the boss that's taking pressure off of you, keep your mark up. Because killing a marked target restores tons of health, it almost heals you to full. Plus it increases your weapon and spell damage for 30 seconds. So killing one target really helps out. And then of course, bats. Devouring Swarm, it's a self-heal, and basically you can't die with this thing up. It's 158 ultimate when you're in stage 4 of Vampirism. I love this for soloing around or just rolling around by myself because basically this is going to be up almost all the time, and it's my oh crap panic button that I use if I need to be healed. Now, you could swap Veil of Blades in here for really high DPS, but that's just assuming you have a healer around. So I like this setup. It works for me. A couple of these abilities you can really play with, but this is the general setup that I found most useful for One-Shot-Willy. Down, set, hut! As you see, One-Shot-Willy moves like lightning. Here's why. It's basically the whole gear setup you have, combined with the passes from Vampirism in the class. I go with a 5-piece Night Silence set because it increases speed while sneaking by 60%. Now, normally it's not a huge advantage, but if you have the Vampire passive, Dark Stalker, it removes the movement penalty while sneaking. Add in some medium armor passives. You got increased sneak detection area and the cost of sneaking. So this really helps you sneaking around. I'm almost faster than my horse, as you can see, and it barely takes any stamina to do this. Plus Night Silence is good because it adds stamina, stamina recovery, and weapon critical. So really it's good. Now I would probably go with a 5-piece Hunding's Rage if I was going to do super high-end endgame content. But if you're using it like I am, just leveling around, it's really fun and fast. So that's what I stick with. The other set that I go with is Sash of the Night Mother, Night Mother's Gaze. I take 4 pieces in this because if I have dual wield, I get 9 total pieces, thus giving me an extra 4% weapon critical. So I go 4 and 5 with that to get tons and tons of critical. If you look at my stats here, I'm at 72% critical. When I show you what I do with the potion, I'm at 92%. So for gearing, it's really important to try to hit your really important numbers and make sure you have food on, because that's really going to show you the stats. Currently I'm VR5, and what I like to do with my gear is do certain traits on large pieces. There's 3 large pieces: your head, your chest, and your legs. Generally I go infused with these pieces because it increases the armor enhancement and gets a huge number. Look, 91 stamina versus 36. And that's both with infused. So you're really getting a bang for your buck. Now I couldn't craft divines on here, but usually I go with divines on almost everything else, because divines increases your Mundastone effects. The Mundastone effect that I use increases the amount of damage that I do, the shadow. Nightblades are the hardest hitting class in the game. Here's why. Increases bonus critical strike damage by 10%. With the Hemorrhage passive along with the Mundastone, you are going to be the hardest hitting class in the game. That's why I like One-Shot-Willy, and specifically why I go with that Mundastone on my gear. The other parts of my gear, I like the neck to be flame resistance. Because I'm a vampire, you have to have at least 1 piece jewelry be flame resistance. And I do some added weapon damage, trying to get to that soft cap, that really important soft cap, so I can do as much damage without entering diminishing returns as possible. On my daggers, I use both the precise trait on both of them, and then I would probably go unresistible for your glyph. Unfortunately, I couldn't craft any at the moment, so I just went with put a flame damage thing in there. But go unresistible, that's probably the best. Bow, I also go precise. Getting that maximum crit is really important, and that's really what's going to keep your damage up, especially if you're hitting full targets. One-Shot-Willy is designed to crit someone and destroy them in one shot, so you really have to have high crit and high burst damage. And that's kind of my gear setup. So I have that set bonus, I like Divines and Infused on my heavy pieces, and I focus on trying to get as high stamina, almost 2k, and you really need about 2200 health, roughly right around there. A lot of the bosses in the game can one-shot you if you don't. And you need a good balance of magic up because a lot of our class skills are magic up. The attributes I went with are 10, 39. You really could mix this up any way you wanted as long as you were hitting your numbers. So try to get to that soft cap of stamina. If you can't, at least get to the 2200 mark for health. And remember, I'm at VR5 right now, so I could get a lot more towards endgame. Also, I stay at stage 4 vampirism to lower the cost, and as you can see, it really hurts my magic recovery. But I don't really, my health recovery, excuse me. I don't need a whole lot of health recovery. Why? Because I use Reaper's Mark to get my health back and Killer's Blade. So really, if I'm killing enemies, I'm getting health back. Stamina recovery is huge because I'm spamming a lot of stamina abilities. So that's really what I want to look. And then all these passes for the Cyrodiil bonuses. So make sure you're home campaigning somewhere where it's advantageous. And that's my gear setup. %98 critical. Wow. How did I get that? Well, I used a potion. But I want to talk about consumables as you see this go down, and why and how they're so important. First off, you really got to have Consummate Honey Brittle after you reach VR5. It gives you 257 stats to everything, and it's a must-have. The recipes are dropping more frequently now, so you can either farm them and way rest, or just get them and buy them, and start crafting this stuff. Crank it out. The other things I like to use is potions. There's tons of different styles of potions you can use, but there's about 3 or 4 that are really common. First being Panacea of Health. It basically restores everything over 14 seconds on health, and then 10 and 10 with magic and stamina. This is your general, resource potion, and you need to keep a lot of these on hand. I don't burn through all of them right away, so I do use these in emergency situations or if I just want to get through content right away. Panacea of Unstoppable. This is awesome. You become immune to knockbacks, stuns, you vanish, and you restore health right away. I like this as kind of like another oh crap button if you're out of magicka or you don't have an ultimate up and you're about to die, nothing's dying, and you just vanish real quick, bang, pop this. Within 3 seconds you're going to be able to regain your composure, get some resources back, and go into the fight. So keep that as a no crap button. Then Panacea of Weapon Power. This is what gets me to that 98% critical, along with all my set bonuses and everything else. So as you can see, that's why I don't need any more crit, because I'm almost at 100 when I use this. And it'll last for 10 seconds and restores stamina. So a burst phase, use these like candy. People don't use a lot of consumables, and I do, because this really pushes your character over the limit to make it as bad as possible. These are the consumables I use. Now let's put it all together and show you how it's done. Okay, we're going to show you how to put this all together. Look at this. I killed a deer, how powerful. Okay, that's a joke. First things first, I'm going to show you melee, kind of how it's done. You mark a target that you want to kill or nuke. You go into sneak, switch back to bar 1. You close the distance about 4 meters away, and then use surprise attack. And boom. It's almost going to kill him or get really close. I try heavy attack. If I want to finish something quick, go back into stealth, do the same thing over, heavy attack to stun him, dead. It's that simple. So we took down an easy target. What about a troll? Same thing. Mark him up, stun. Charge a heavy attack to stun him again, go back into stealth, stun again, he's at 50%, spam a couple flying blades to get him low, and killer's blade. Just like that. So it's pretty easy single target taking down 1 or 2 targets. Let's look at range and see how that's done. You're going to do the same thing, mark the target, except this time you're going to hit him with focused aim at a huge distance, immediately charge a heavy attack, launch it, poison arrow, dead. Let's get this guy. Focused, heavy attack, poison, or venom arrow, excuse me. And if you don't want to do that, you can just do this, venom arrow, do a couple of them, he gets close. I like to do this trick, pop him back twice, draining shot, then snipe him. Charge your heavy, he gets close, let him get closer, because I'm going to switch and take you out with killer's blade. So that's kind of how range is done. Basically, there's just a couple abilities really that you're using and taking things out over and over and over. So how do we do AoE? Because this does lack some AoE, but it's still pretty good. Let's watch. Gonna funnel health, get a couple of these guys. Once I get close, I block, boom. Bats, switch back to bar 1, and just spam Steel Tornado. Go into stealth. I'm going to stun lock 1 down. I'm going to use a potion right now. Try to get this guy down quick, because 2 trolls is kind of tough. As you can see, I'm low on health, but guess what? Killer's blade saved me. Mark the target. Kick him back twice, and then this guy's going to help me. Boom! Full health, look at that. Really, your sustainability comes from Reaper's Mark, and then also your Killer's Blade. Also, you can do funnel health too if you need. That's really how this all comes together, taking out enemies one at a time. And just to show you how powerful this is, look at that, I killed a fox. Okay, that's a joke. Anyways, I hope you like this.
Wow, that's One-Shot-Willy. Wasn't that fun? I want to know what you guys are running on your builds, so leave me a comment, feel free to subscribe, send me a message. I've already learned so much from the YouTube community. I plan to do more Nightblade builds and more guides for anything Elder Scrolls Online, so stick tuned and come back frequently. Thanks for watching.